Hey, y'all. Welcome to Late Night with Bridget and Holly. I'm your host, Bridget.
And I'm your host, Holly.
And y'all, tonight we have a really good episode for y'all. It's talking about privacy in relationships. How much should you actually have? But before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell here on YouTube. And remember that we're on any channel that you listen to your podcast. If you happen to look for us somewhere and we're not there, email us at bridgetandholly@gmail.com. Let us know and we'll get put on there. But y'all, this one is going to be a very good one. Before we get started, though, Holly, how's your day been?
It's been good. I did a lot of decluttering that I needed to do. So spring cleaning came a little early for me because I'm overflowing with just stuff that I don't need. And
Yep.
like when me and you would talk earlier, if you ain't used it in what you say 6 months,
6 months.
you're not gonna use it. So I threw
Nope.
away 1, 2, 3. I think it was 3 or 4, the big tall black trash bags. Filled up. Got them in the car so I can take to the dumpster tomorrow.
Now, you threw the trash out or did Jason?
No, he did. He was about to go back to his room. I said, "Are you busy right now?" I said, "'Cause I need your help." And he's like, "What you need? I can help you." I was like, "Can you take all these bags and put them in the car?" He did that, but guess what? He dumped damn trash in the kitchen, and that
God
needs it worse
almighty.
than anything.
Jason, let's get it together.
I know. Get it together, man.
Sir.
What are you doing with your life?
Exactly. Okay, so Holly, I got to ask you a question. Do you think that you should have privacy in a relationship?
I mean, I do think that you should have privacy. I really do. But there's certain things that I don't feel like there should be a lock and key on if you really trust one another and you're in a good relationship.
Right. Now, that goes to say exactly the way I feel. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy.
Yes.
Huge. Okay. So I think it's okay to have a little privacy in relationships, but I don't think it's okay to have secrecy. So we're
No.
going to discuss, privacy as far as your significant other having free access to your cell phones. If you have separate bank accounts, should they be able to get in your bank accounts and see what you spend and how much you make and yada, yada, yada? Should, they be able to have access to your medical records? Like how much are you willing to let your partner in on every aspect of your life, and should they have free reign or not? Now, I will say everyone has a right to privacy in a relationship. I do believe
Right.
that. If you observe your partner's privacy, it's a sign that you respect them and that you trust them and you're willing to have boundaries with them. But at the same time, having the sense of privacy helps people maintain their independence. But I think this too. The only way you can do that is if you fully trust your partner. If you have trust issues
Exactly.
from a previous relationship, or if your partner makes you feel in some way they're keeping a secret, it's a whole different ballgame.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So me to you, my husband. Okay, now I don't pick up his phone and start going through it and wanting to see stuff and going through all his apps and stuff. But I know in my heart, if I say, "Hey, honey, can I see your phone for a minute?" He's going to hand it to me, walk out the room, and he's not going to care. If you
Right.
have a person that's taking their cell phone, constantly keeping it on lock, taking it to the bathroom with them, turning it upside down where they can't see the face of it, and acting real secretive, you're going to raise your partner's suspicions. And then if they ask you, "Can I see your phone?" and you're like, "No, you can't see my phone. This is private." You're automatically going to start a war because they don't feel like there's an open book there. They feel like you're keeping
Yep.
something from them.
And they're gonna get defensive and stuff like that. That's a whole can of worms. Like Jason can grab my phone anytime he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
My phone is an open book. I'm not gonna not tell something to you or to Tammy or to Heather and not tell him. Yeah, we all talk about our significant other together, but I have no secrets in my phone. He can go on my
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, he can go on my Instagram, he can check my emails, all of that. I feel like how you said, if you can't hold the other person's phone, even make a phone call, then there's
Mm-hmm.
something fishy about that. I don't
It
care what
is.
anybody says, and especially when they get defensive about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
It
agree
right.
with you on that.
Like it's somebody's attitude about it. And that's
Yeah.
why I go to say that privacy in relationship is okay, but secrecy is not.
Nope.
Um,
Because they're
yeah,
hiding
so
something.
it is. It is. It creates insecurities. So let's go into another level of this. Do you think that you should always have to tell your new partner? Let's say you and Jason just started dating today. Should you be an open book about your past? Like, should that be required that you tell everything about your past, or is it okay to keep some things to yourself?
I think until you see how the relationship progresses, I think it's okay to keep some of that on the hush hush.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to air your entire past to somebody, and y'all only date for a month, and here they
Correct.
know all this shit on you. So
Right.
you got to protect yourself in that aspect. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the longer the relationship progresses and you stay together,
Mm-hmm.
keep revealing about your past.
Right. Now, let's say you take it all the way to the point you're getting ready to get married. You're going to walk down the aisle, and there's, say, several key or important things that they don't know about your past. Do you think that should be disclosed before you get married? Or do you think that, hey, it happened before you? That's my business. It shouldn't matter.
Depending on what it is. If it's like something severe, then yeah, I think they have the right to know, so they know what they're getting into. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's just like little stuff that you were just like, oh, I didn't think to tell him this, like, oh my God, when I was such and such, I slept with this person, or, when I was with this person, this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really depends on how deep you want to go
Right.
into the past. Like for me, with me and Jason, like he knows everything that's happened in my past. I don't have
Right.
any secrets or anything like that. I don't have nothing bad that I had to tell him.
Mm-hmm.
But it just depends on if you want to be an open book. But I do think if it's something that is major
Mm-hmm.
before you walk down that aisle, I do think that your partner deserves to know.
I think so too. Like you said. So let's say, for instance, it's really this can go both ways because let's say, for instance, I've talked very openly about my past and being molested as a child and things like that.
Right.
But let's say that wasn't something I was comfortable talking about. You might have a lot of people out here that are like, look, that happened to me. I'm not comfortable discussing it. I don't want to have to relive it and tell it again. And so you get ready to get married and you don't disclose it to your partner. And then somehow later on through the family, they find out. Should they be upset that you didn't tell? I don't think they should be upset about something like that. I think they should be understanding and realize the reason you kept it to
Yeah.
yourself. But now, and it just depends. I think it's like you said, it depends on what it is. What is it that
Yeah.
I think it to be a situation by situation basis. But for me, I think, like you, I think before you commit to someone, you should know what you're signing the paper to get into. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
buying a car. You want to know everything about that car. What am I getting into? What am I? So you kind of want to know. And I even think with something like the reason I disclosed it to my husband, hey, I've been molested. So, because when somebody's like that, sometimes they have a lot of trauma that they deal with and they
They
don't deal
do
with it properly.
PTSD.
Exactly. And things can trigger them. Well, if you're with a man who don't know that's happened to you and he does something that kind of triggers you and you get upset with him, he's none the wiser. He's like, what did I do?
He's gonna
What did
think
I
you're
do?
still crazy, and
Mm-hmm.
it's probably gonna freak him out.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that it is important to disclose pretty much everything. Now, me personally, I am an open book. I will tell you anything and everything. I have no secrets. Um, I'm the type of person that I tell my husband, I've even told my kids, I can deal with anything if I know the truth. The last thing I want to do is get blindsided by the truth and not know how to react. Like, in other words, I'll give you an example. I've often told my husband, if a woman comes on to you, tell me. If I won't react, I won't do anything, but I don't want to hear it from someone else and then me look at you and then you look at me and I don't know how to defend it. Like, I would rather the woman tell me,
Yeah.
oh, well, I came into your husband. Did he not tell you? Oh, no, honey, he told me. I just didn't say anything to you.
Right.
Like, I
Don't
want to
let
be
you be in the
prepared.
dark about it.
Exactly.
And I'm
Exactly.
the same way too. Something I'll come home and tell Jason about such and such shit, and on me at work, because I do experience that a lot because of where I work at, and I
Mhm.
almost feel guilty if I don't tell him.
Mhm. I do
Not
too.
that he would see this person, but then again, if he's at my work, he may run into this person.
Right. Right.
But I do like I share everything with him.
Right. I do too. I do too. Now, you and Jason have joint finances. So
Hmm.
he knows everything that goes in, he knows everything that goes out, and so do you. But in a situation like myself and Mr. Ronnie, we have separate bank accounts. And we have one joint account that is for the bills. I put my part of the bills in, he puts his part of the bills in, and our bills come out of that. Do you think when couples have separate bank accounts, they should have full knowledge or privilege to see what's in that other person's account? And
I mean, I this is how I look at it. I don't down anybody who has separate checking accounts. I really don't. I know a lot of people who are like that. And I do feel like if you and him are paying the bills, you've got your account, he's got your account, then I don't like if maybe he was to ask to look at it, you could be like, oh, yeah, sure, you can look at my account, but I have access to it and I always question you about it. No, because you've got your money, he's got his
mm-hmm.
money, which is why y'all have the one joint account for
Mm-hmm.
bills because y'all are free to do whatever you want and buy whatever you want.
Right,
So
right.
I feel like when you have separate accounts, it is okay to not, say, hey, well, what'd you buy or how much money you got in your account. It's
Right.
okay to not know that because that was the agreement that y'all both agreed on.
Right, right. And I feel the exact same way. If he was to say, I'm gonna I want to look in your bank account, I would wonder why, but I'd
Yeah.
say, okay.
What
And
for?
yeah, I'd get the app and I'd let him see it. Now, if he started being like, well, why did you spend this on this? And I'd be like, ho, 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 I paid my part of the bills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, don't ask me any other questions. I would get defensive about that. And as
Yeah.
he would, if I started questioning him. But, and y'all, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all, because I know y'all are going to ask. I don't know if you listened to a previous podcast. Back when we started the podcast, we had joint checking or separate, which one is best. Um, I don't think there's any right and wrong way. I think it's whatever works in your marriage.
Right.
But for me and my husband, we've decided to have a joint account for the bills and a separate account for our own money. And it has worked out perfect because, like you said, that means he's got his money, I got my money. And there's nobody that's arguing. We never argue over finances. Never for
Yeah.
that reason. For that reason. But we do that because we feel like we both make decent money. And we feel like because we make decent money, we've come to like a split. Like some couples, if the man makes more, you'll do a 60-40 split or a 70-30
Right.
split. I think my daughter and Kyle, they're kind of more like a 70-30 or a 75-25. I don't remember because he makes quite a bit more than her. But for me and my husband, we make close to the same. So we kind of go 50-50 with it.
Yeah.
Um, and it works for us. It does work for us. I do think also one thing that can make you feel safe about keeping an open policy in your relationship
Mm-hmm.
is, does your partner use the information against you? Like, in other words, if you tell them everything about your past, everything that's going on,
Right.
can you trust them to keep that secret or keep that, sacred? Or are they going to later on be like, well, you said blah, 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 or you slept with so and so and so and so before we got married? Like, how much is it going to be thrown up to you?
Exactly. I
You
think when
know?
you've been with somebody, especially like as long as I've been with Jason, as long as you've been with Mr. Ronnie, I think for us, like, we don't have to worry about that, but that is something
Right.
that you want to worry about, especially in the beginning of a relationship. Because
Right.
if you got that going on in the beginning of your relationship,
Yep.
bye.
Yep.
Cut it loose.
Right. So that's another thing, y'all. If you're wanting to keep an open kind of relationship and be honest with each other, make sure that you're somebody your partner can tell something to, and you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
throw it back in their face or use it against them later.
That's a
Because if
horrible thing to do.
it is, and if you start that, you start your partner saying, "Well, I'm just not going to tell them this, and I'm not going to say that, or it's going to be
Yeah.
used against me later." You start them wanting to close up and shut down on you.
And you want to
Um.
bond. You want to be open with each other so y'all's bond can grow stronger. You want to be there for each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you also don't want to be an open book with somebody if you're constantly having to defend it. So let's say, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, Jason comes home to you and he says, Holly, I just want to let you know at work today, this girl came on pretty strong to me. And then every single day he goes to work, it's like, oh, you're going to see your girlfriend? Yeah, you're going to see. If somebody's willing to be that open and honest with you, don't fuss at them about little stuff. It's like, why
Right.
would you do that? But I know a lot of times women are bad for that, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I feel like as far as having an open relationship, you know, and keeping the privacy to a minimum.
To a
I think it's
minimum.
okay to have privacy. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to keep things private to a degree. And again, it depends on what it is, but you have to first of all give people a safe place to tell you their secrets. You
Yeah.
have to, you know, not be on the defensive, not throw it up to them. You have to be someone who's understanding. Your partner might tell you something that's some pretty shocking news. You know, I just want to let you know that I got pregnant one time and I had an abortion. Well, you don't really agree with abortion. Are you gonna judge them for
Are
it?
you going to
You
run
know?
from that?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Exactly. So at what point do you feel like privacy is not okay when somebody's, you know, like they're trying to keep stuff to, like when it becomes secrecy?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I feel like it's not okay. Is
Mm-hmm.
when there becomes secrets. You
Yeah.
know, when you can't ask a simple question and get a simple answer.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't ask a question without them getting defensive.
Right.
Those are keys to me. Those are red flags
Yeah.
when you're getting those. You know, hostility, things like that. It just the secret thing is like where you draw the line, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I think so too.
'Cause that's so damaging for a relationship.
It is. It is. Because like I said, secrecy it's really the root of a lot of trust issues,
Mm,
insecurities, disconnection in a relationship. You know, if there's not transparency in a relationship, then the stable foundation that it kind of rests on, it's going to crumble. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Because you have to be able to feel like I can trust you 100%.
Yeah,
And
and
if
not know that what I'm telling you, is going to be used against me, and I'm going to be stabbed in the back,
mhm.
or that you're going
Mhm.
to take, me for granted and blatantly lie to my face about anything and
Right.
everything.
Right. Right. And like I said, I think when you have an open and honest relationship like that, you want to share more with your partner. You're okay
Yeah, it
sharing it.
makes you more eager to open up.
Yeah. So at this point, like, do you think it's okay? Like, okay, should you ask when you want to go through your partner's phone or you want to see something on their phone? Do you think you should have to ask or should you just be able to go pick it up and do it?
I mean, I feel like you should ask in case they're doing something or got something going on their phone at
Right.
that moment. But if you don't have any secrets, then you shouldn't say no. I feel like
Exactly.
that would be like if Jason come in here and he's like, "My phone's not working. Can I use your phone?" I would be able to give him my phone and walk into another room and not give two shits.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, and I think that too. I think the respectful thing to do is ask. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
at least just that.
You don't want to just assume, well, we're together, so I have free access to every damn thing that's yours.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think it's better to ask, but at the same time, it's one of those things that if I do ask and you start going, no, or why do you want my phone? Like I said, getting defensive,
Yeah.
that automatically makes you go, well, I wonder why they don't want me to have their phone.
Yeah, I'm just making a phone call. It's not like I'm going to look through all your stuff. But even if you
Right.
do want to look through their stuff, what does it matter?
Right.
You're
But now,
together.
let me ask you this. If Jason would ask for your phone, you'd give it to him. And then he makes his phone call. And then he starts going through every app. He starts reading the messages on your Facebook messages. He starts reading your Instagram messages. How would you feel about that? Are you 100% okay with that? Or are you like, really? You know, what are you thinking about that?
No, I'm 110% okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because I
Now,
wouldn't have nothing that, I would be hiding from him. I would not have anything that he couldn't read.
right. Well, see, now I do feel a little different about that. And I'll tell you why. Let's say, for instance, Ronnie goes to my messages and he starts reading all my messages, like from me to you, from me to Shelly, or from me to Sissy. No, I would tell him, but I would tell him why. I'd be like, I don't want you reading those. It's nothing that I've said wrong, but my friends share things with me that are secret, that they entrust me with, and that they don't want anybody but me to know. And I would appreciate it if you didn't do that, because I feel like at that point I'm breaking their trust.
Now, yeah, that like message wise, when it comes to text and one on one,
Yeah.
I would say something like that, like like me and Bridget or me and Tammy's in the middle of a conversation. This is something private that she's telling me about, so just don't click on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like as far as like Instagram and Facebook and
Right.
yeah, none of that bothers me. None of
Right.
that, because I mean, my social media is an open book anyway. But like anytime I get hit on in my DMs, like on Instagram or on TikTok or even on Facebook, I'll
Hmm.
let him know, and about look, I took care of it. I stood up for myself. Delete and block.
Right. Well, see, that's another thing. Now, Mr. Ronnie's always been like one that's extremely, extremely jealous. And when we first
Jason is
got
that way.
together, yeah, I would tell him, I said, I'll tell you anything, but I want you to let me handle it till I can't handle it anymore. And when I can't
Yeah.
handle it anymore, I'll let you know. But don't show your ass and go straight to that person and be like, because I'll tell you a story what happened. I was driving he had a silver Nissan when we first got together. And we had a gas station below our house that they still pump the gas for you. Well, I pulled up in the truck, and this little 20-something-year-old boy, I think he was just kind of flirting with an older woman to get a tip. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so I pull up and he goes, "Man, I like your little truck." And I said, "Thank you." And I said, "It's actually my husband's." He said, "Oh," he said, "Can you spin me a tire when you leave?" And I was like, I said, "I better not do that." And he says, "Oh, come on." And so he pumps my gas, and I go up there and I pay him and I give him a little tip. And I leave and I go home and I'm laughing about it. And I tell Ronnie, and he's like, "Oh, no, he's flirting with you." And I'm like, I don't think so. And he goes, "No, he is." He gets in his truck, girl, and drives back down there to the boy
Oh
and says,
no.
he says, "Do you remember this truck?" And the boy says, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Yeah, my wife was driving it, and I'm going to need you not to flirt with her anymore when you see her. Do you understand me?" I was so embarrassed. I was so
Oh
embarrassed. I told him
God.
straight up. I was like, "Yeah, we're not going to act like that. I said, if you do that, I will never tell you anything again."
Yeah, that was a bit much. I don't blame you there. That was a bit much.
Yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." So I did tame him down. He's always been a bullet shot out of a gun. But over the 20 some years we've been together, I've kind of toned that down quite a bit, you
Mellowed it,
know?
yeah. Got him a little bit more
Yeah.
mellow. A little bit more
Yeah.
mellow.
Yeah. Now he's still, if we were standing like out in public and a guy come up and like straight up flirted with me, I think he'd be like, I know you didn't. He would
Yeah.
step in. He would step in.
And now, I
But
mean, I can see that too, especially if they're doing it right in front of him. Then, oh
mm-hmm.
yeah, hands down, I would say something. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hands
Yep.
down.
Yeah, but for me, I definitely think privacy in a relationship to a degree is okay. I think secrecy is never okay.
No.
Um, I think that relationships that pretty much have an open book are the best, but I also say whatever works for you. So if you tell me that me and my husband, we keep a lot of secrets and it's working for you, I've been together 20 some years, keep doing you, boo. Keep doing you. If it works, it works.
All right, because you both got to have that happy medium
That's
with
right.
each other. You can't be one sided and things be all wonky because you're gonna have one person suspicious and the other one that's an open book, and you're gonna just go back and forth and back and forth. You don't want that. You want a healthy, open, honest, trustworthy relationship.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Well,
Yeah.
y'all, that wraps up today's podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell here on YouTube. Look for us on your favorite podcast channel. We're trying to do 3 new series. Okay, we're trying to start those up. It's Ask Bridget and Holly. So if y'all have any questions, any dilemmas, you need any advice, hit us up. It's kind of like what was that used to be? What was her name?
Dear
Dear Abby.
Abby.
Yeah, we're
Dear
kind of trying to
Abby.
do that.
Dear
And
Abby.
we're doing a confessions. So if y'all got a secret and you
We
just
want to
want to get
know
it,
about it.
let's just wanted to get it off your chest. Email us
Right.
about that, and we have settled the argument. So let's say you and your kids or your husband or whatever, y'all having a petty argument about something, and you want to know, well, who's right? Who do you think's right? Email us that, and we'll let you know that too. But y'all do that at bridgetandholly@gmail.com. We thank you for tuning in today. Remember, no secrets in a relationship, and it'll be good. Okay. And I
Yes.
love y'all. Bye.
Love y'all. Good night.